this is actually the dollar index. So what I do at the beginning of the week is this. At the beginning of the week, I look at the weekly time frame, look at where the charts, where price is likely going to. Then from there, we can now go ahead and scale down to the daily, 4 hours, 1 hour for swing trades, and 15 minutes for day trades. So what I'll be, the trade I'm likely entering today, going to see it. But first, where we'll start with is the dollar index, because dollar index is very important if you are looking at trading Euro USD or GBP USD. Dollar index is pretty important. So we'll start with the dollar index. So this is the dollar index, right? I'm going to go to the weekly time frame and look at it. But first, let me look at the, oh, it's a new month. So welcome to this very new month. It's September. We're in the Ember month now. So first I want to look at, wait a minute. Today is all bank holiday in the US, September 1st. Is that for real? So if today is bank holiday in the US, we might likely not see a lot of actions, but we'll still do analysis. If today is bank holidays in the US and Canada, tomorrow being September 2nd, we might see actions there. So that tells me that, okay, we might not see a lot of actions. The market might be choppy the whole of today since we're having bank holiday in US and Canada. And most of the volume is, comes from there, especially for Euro USD. So this is the weekly chart. And what can we see from this weekly chart? Each of these candles represent what happens in 1 week. And this is this very week starting up. The rejection, you can see there are quite a number of rejections. These weeks, the week here, week here, week here, week here, week here, shows that the dollar is quite weak. So I should expect it to go further down because of the crazy amount of rejection that we're seeing. So for the weekly time frame, I'm looking at say some persons are saying that it's not clear. Please, what is not clear? Can my charts be seen? If you can see my chart fine, just let me know. If you can see my chart well, please let me know in the comments, because somebody is saying that my chart is not clear. Okay, my chart is clear. I think fresh war, it should be only you. It should be a network thing. Okay, so weekly time frame, I'm seeing a number of rejections from these candles we see here. This candle is basically telling me that the dollar is weak. Hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. Because if you look at this, you see a long wick at the higher side and the body comes at the lower side. It means that when markets get here, it's pushed down back. It happened with this candle, that candle, this candle, and even the last week candle. We are seeing weakness of the dollar. So that tells me that looking at this, I'm looking at this at the upper range. This particular candle here, I'm looking at it as this is the last week high. So my range will be here. I like to make this dotted. a dashed line. My range is here, and I will also be considering the market breaking this particular one. So what I'm saying, practically, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this week the market trading between here and here this week. So that is the weekly. Then we'll go to the daily time frame. Mind you, I'm still analyzing the dollar index. So if I'm looking at trading Euro USD and the dollar is coming down, that means that I want to take long position for Euro USD because I expect it to go up. So we're finding on the daily, this is the low I want taken out. If this low is taken out, and this is an efficient zone, I also want this low here to be taken out. But this is the nearest low. I'm fine to see this taken out within this trading week. So that is, what can we see again? I can't see quite much. So I want to take out some of this because they are not irrelevant. I can go down to the daily or the 4 hour and the 1 hour to tell you why so I'm going to leave it. So when we go lower, you see it. So can we see anything? This has broken through. This is practically entering this zone. So I want to see this go down further. So going down to the 4 hour time frame. If you look at the 4 hour time frame, we actually discussed this within the community on Discord. So this is an efficient, or rather, we had a very good trade downward this way. Now, we are having a demand zone here that has been broken through. Once it gets broken through, definitely this low will be taken out, and we're going to head for this. Okay. So I'm happy to take this out. If you look above, can we see is there any supply zone above? The supply zone I can see here on the daily time, on the 4 hour time frame rather, is this particular one. So even if we see price break this structure, let's say we see price break into this, we might see have something like this to come down to take out this low. But general direction of the dollar index is that it is bearish. Daily and 1 hour time frame. 1 hour time frame is where I start looking for swing trades. And for day trade, I like to go down lower to the I like to go down lower to the 15 minutes time frame. So what are we seeing here? First, if you look at this region on the 1 hour, these are all efficient price actions. Every supply zone we see has been taken out. So the next supply I can see is this particular one here. This particular one here. And that is because of the imbalance I'm seeing here. Okay. Now, which tells me the possible movements is movement to take this supply and we go lower. So this will be my plan for a swing trade. Possibility of going lower, then taking this high, and then taking out this low. Mind you, we still have another low here. So we can actually go lower. We can also do this. In other words, go lower to take out this low and possibly come here and go lower this way. So if I am bearish on dollar based on the price action we're seeing here, it means that when we get to the Euro USD, I should be bullish. Let's go lower to the 15 minutes. This is where I like to look at for um, day trade today. You can see clearly that when I move to the 15 minutes, this is when my session comes in. This is when my session comes in. Now, if you have been following me for a while, this will likely play out because we have an Asian range. Then inside this Asian range on the 15 minutes, we have a supply zone here. We have a supply zone here. And if you go to the 1 hour, you can actually see that supply zone. It's much bigger, a bigger supply zone here. On the 15 minutes, I can refine it further to just target this high here, this one here. I like to call this my 1 hour supply zone. So 1 hour supply zone. Now, this is an Asian high, an Asian supply. And if you've been following me, you know that most of our charts, that Asian is usually swept both ways. So it means that this high you see here is not going to hold. So if this market goes up, we're going to see it taking out this way, possibly into this zone, and we go lower. So this just confirms how the trade is likely going to go on for swing trades and for day trades. Now let's go and look at a market now, like a market, and see what will likely play out. So this is actually a trade we took on Friday. This is our Friday trade. We did really good here. We didn't quite hit a the final TP, but we got out at least above a 2-hour TP. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear this out and clear this one out and start again on the weekly time frame. So this is Euro USD. We're going to start again on the weekly time frame. I will now scale down to the daily time frame. Okay, so weekly time frame again. If you look at the weekly time frame, you can see that this is actually quite the opposite from what we're seeing in the dollar index. You can see the weeks below. You see all the weeks below, showing that this market is actually being bullish. We want to take out this particular high. We're likely going to take out this particular high. So what is my trading range for this week? I think I'm going to maintain what I had before, or maybe I'll just shift this to this point and just forget about this for this week. So this is going to be my weekly range. I want to trade within here. That is from within this range that I've drawn. That is where the trade is likely going to happen. Let me look back and see, are we having any? Yeah, even if you look at this, you can see that this market has broken into Not quite yet. It's still within this supply zone. But once it breaks it, we can go higher for this next supply zone. So generally, we're having a bullish bias on all time frame on the um, daily 4 hour time frame for Euro USD. Now let's go down further to the daily time frame and see what we can trade here. Initially, my bias was that we have taken out this. We had a break of structure to this side, thus we should move lower. But I'm looking at it again. This might just be we respecting this demand zone, and we had a break of structure here, so we're likely moving higher. As you can see, that we're actually moving higher. So I'm likely gonna see this high here not respected but taken out, since we don't have any demand here. The last demand we have here has been respected, so I'm seeing us breaking new high. This is the next demand. This is the next demand we have. So let me mark it out. It's actually a large demand. We'll refine further when we get to another time frame, when we get to the lower time frame. So we have this. So the possibility can be that we go this way and come down lower and go higher. Okay. So with that in mind, let's go to the 4 hour. What do we have in the 4 hour? I think I'm going to close some of this breakout structure I have here and redraw new ones. So what do we have in the 4 hours? I'm going to reduce this, refine this to a 4 hour demand zone. Now within here, we can see a supply zone that has been broken into. Since it's broken into, it means it's not going to hold. The next target is here. So beside this demand zone we have here, there is another one here that has not been taken. This one is an efficient zone. If this market is going to retrace, this is the possible movement, right? On the 4 hour. With that, I can actually move lower to the 1 hour to start looking for day trades. Let me go back to the 4 hours. Let's see. There has not been any significant breakout structure here, apart from internal breakout structure as well, definitely. Or rather, we can look at this. This caused a new high, so we can actually start considering this one as an internal breakout structure here. All right, so let's go to the 1 hour. So the pair I'm looking at for the guy asking, I'm looking at Euro USD. After that, we'll do GU, then we'll now go to crypto. Okay, so again, we have a zone here. This zone is efficient. We are broken to this zone, which means that this is going to continue. All right, and here we have a demand zone here. We have a demand zone here. This demand zone is the one that actually broke this structure here, which means that it's likely to hold than this particular one. So this will likely hold. I'll look at taking long position here rather than this one, because this is the zone that did the breaking of the structure. Now, if you look here on the 1 hour, you can see that we have another. If you consider the whole of this zone, you will see that we can say that this is sufficient. But for this, we can refine further. We can refine further this way. And when you refine further, it becomes clear that we have an imbalance here. So this is the imbalance at this point. Imbalance here. So what is a possible swing trade that we can take here? Possible swing trade is this. Have a long position from here. And we can target this high. This is 6.5 risk reward. Down to this point and target this high. This is happening on the 1 hour. So before you can see this thing come down here, it might take some time. Even if this hits here, I think this is still valid. We can still take this and go higher. So this is a possible swing trade for me. Now, for the daily time frame, for the day trade, we'll go to 15 minutes and see. Now, the only issue I have is that in the US, we were having the holidays, right? The bank holidays. So banks are not operating, or might not see much volume in the market today. So what can we see on the 15 minutes? Can we see any way to take a trade from? If you look left, this is an efficient zone all the way up to this point that has been taken. These are efficient zone until we get to this particular point. But that said, I'm going to actually move to the 30 minutes instead to see if I can make it clear. So this, I'm looking for where I could take this trade. I could go lower from this trade. From here, if you look here, we have a tiny zone here, a very tiny zone. We have a zone here. It is tiny, but yes, we still have an imbalance here because this is not touching. Okay, this hasn't been taken. So this is a zone I might be looking at from first. This is another zone here. This one is much higher. So I don't see us hitting this one first because this is much higher. Okay, so my idea is this. My idea is to look for shorts on the lower time frame. How do I do it? Because I want the market to come there. I mean, the market, from the way I'm seeing it, the market is meant to come down here, then we go higher. But the thing is that we can actually trade the market down. We can trade the market lower. We don't just have to wait. We can trade the market lower to go higher. So that would be the basis of my trade for a day trade. Now, this is the Asian session. The way I mark my own Asian session is quite different from the way most people mark it, because I just look at Asia from 1 a.m. West African time to 7 a.m. Then London 8 to 12, New York 12:30 to around 5. Now, it's not exactly the way it is in the market, but this has, worked for me pretty well. And that is the setting I use for mine. Now, if we look at this, we have come to the end of the Asian section according to my drawing, because I see it's ending by 7. So this is a zone. I'm looking at the reversal from this one and this one. If you look here, this is a low that's leading to a new high. Okay, so we might actually do this. So I'm looking for a tap into this zone and a breakdown. Then I can look for entries here to take this trade to this level. Again, Asian highs and low are usually taken out for in that day. So this is the end of the Asian section. If you look left, we have a supply zone here and a supply zone here. The market will move better if it's coming from a supply zone. So this is what I'm looking at. Now, this might play out in a different way. We might have another push down this way. We can have another push down this way and tap here, and then we can do this. But before I take any trade, take any short position, I'm looking for two things. One is a break of structure to the downside, which makes it a change of character. Okay? And I want it to come from a supply zone. So these are the conditions for which I'm going to take a short position from into here to now go higher from here. Hope this makes sense. But let's see how the bank holiday is going to affect the whole of this. And I'll be on Discord to drop my setups, my entry setup when I find them. Now, let's look at GBPUSD. When you analyze the dollar index, the market that follows it really, really well, closely, is EURUSD. The next one is GBPUSD. Now, most of the trades that I've taken that are quite profitable, I'll keep saying, is actually EURUSD, because it's clearly simple. It obeys its fair value gaps and its demand and supply zone, and also obeys this Asian liquidity system. It obeys it really, really well. That's why I look forward to taking trades here. Now, still on EURUSD, we might see this market go higher and even tap into this one. But ultimately, I'm just looking forward to tap into this, because to come back and clear this Asian low. So GU, we're going to do the same thing with GU. We'll start from the higher time frame, then walk down to the lower time frame. So I'm going to clear out some of the things we drew the previous week. Okay, so weekly time frame, what has GE been doing? We haven't seen much rejection the way we are seeing for the way we saw on EU. Okay, but one thing I can say is that the range I have is actually very it's actually much. The market will likely take this kind of long movement for the week. But then again, I'm still targeting here if we're going higher, and targeting here if we're going lower. So that is a weekly, and we'll have an equal high liquidity here, which might just be taken out as we move. So We'll move to daily time frame to see a clearer picture of things. So the same thing over here, we have another block on a daily time frame. It's my daily time frame supply zone. Again, for those who doesn't know, why is this the supply zone? It's because we have a fair value gap here, clearly here, meaning that we might see a possible market reversal when we hit this zone. When we hit this zone, we can see a possible reversal. Of course, we have to confirm what happens here before we say the reversal is coming. If you look below, the demand zone we have below. So we have supply zone above and demand zone below. So this is the last demand zone we have here. And why is this also the demand zone? Because we have a fair value gap at this point. Hope that makes sense. So we have equal high liquidity here, so when we have liquidity, it's likely taken out. I would have expected that this market does this, like it does this, tap into this and go higher. But then again, this could still happen. We can still see this liquidity taking, right? And we see the market come down to tap into this before going higher here. Or it can just go straight here and tap into this zone, and we see it go lower. Ultimately, this is the high and low ones trade. So this is daily, and daily I've marked out this zone. So we'll do this step by step, mark out these zones. Then we can now say it's time to go to the 4 hours to see how we can refine these zones. So in the 4 hours, what can we refine? I can refine this zone better to this, range, right? And now I can actually call this my, I could label this my 4-hour supply zone. Okay. And we can do the same thing here. So this is a 4-hour demand zone. So what can we find here? What can we trade here on the 4 hours? Here we had another demand zone, which was taken by this. We've not had any significant break of structure to the upside. Here we also have a supply zone, which was taken, and demand zone taken, and we have range in this region. This is another demand zone here that has been taken, and this market is headed to the upside. So from here, we don't have any other demand zone here. We have liquidity here. So how can this market possibly move? There is this movement created another zone here. Another zone here. So it tells me that if we have a break of structure up here, we can see a movement up to take out this. This is a demand zone that will likely be filled, but the way I'm looking at it, we might do this first and possibly then come lower from here before going higher here. So this will be the trade we're looking at in the short term, but I want a proper break of structure here. I possibly want this to be taken out. This high to be taken out. Into this efficient region. And seeing this. Okay, so 1 hour time frame now. This is a 1 hour time frame. We can do so when we move down lower and it's closer to our trading zone, we can now do some refining. On the 1 hour, this zone is still respected because this is efficient, and I can now refine this further down to here, and this becomes my 1 hour demand zone. One hour demand zone. So if I see a break here, then this possible trade I'm going to take. From this region, I can go slightly lower. Then I want to target this high where we have liquidity. Okay, but I want to see this high taken first before I will consider this respected. If it's not taken, then I might be careful not in taking this particular trade, right? I want to see this high, this one taken, and possibly this one taken before we can consider that. As a matter of fact, if this high is taken, mind you, when I say taken, I don't mean a sweep. I mean a proper break of structure. So if this is actually taken, this one, with a candle body closure, then I can look forward to this for a swing trade. That said, let's look at some day trade we can look out for today. So for day trades, I'm moving to 15 minutes, but let's start from the 30 minutes. Then we can now move lower. So what comes out in my minute chart is the zone, the zones. That is the trading sessions. So what do we have here? If I'm to, my trade today is simply this, okay? Like this is where I want to see taken out. And this is actually close to, this is the Asian zone. Yeah, I don't know why my chart doesn't adjust this to 7 o'clock each time. So this is the Asian zone, right? What I'm expecting is this. We go higher. So you see it's similar to what we have with EURUSD. It goes higher, then comes down to take out this. Then this will be my trade. So it comes down to take out this particular low here. What's happening? I'm going to place an alert on this. So this is going to be my trade for today. So I want to see Asian high taking out with a candle body closure. I want to see this low taking out. Then I want to look for a supply zone here on the lower time frame, say 15 minutes. Then I am positive in taking this trade here from this point. If I go down to 15 minutes, it has not changed. I'm still looking for the same thing. Asian high taken out, this particular swing low taken out. Then I want to look for a supply zone here and take my trade here to go lower. This is similar to what we have. Oh, this has really gone high. So I still want to see this. So this is similar to what we have on this Euro USD. So again, I want to see this low taken out, this one taken out. Then I want to take a demand zone and take it lower. So I'm going to be looking at these two for my Forex trade. I'm looking at these two pairs. The one that plays out fine the most is the one I'm going to take and I'm going to trade. The one that plays out the best is the one I trade. So this is my trade for Euro USD and GBP and GU on for swing trade and for day trade. The next one I'm going to look at is next thing we'll look at is gold. Then after gold, we can look at this. So for those complaining that my chart is not clear, it's your network. So what you can do is that you can wait for the class to be over. Once the class is over, you can then do this. Hold on. Why is this giving me a different stuff? Once the class is over, you can set a higher resolution, then check again to be clearer for you to see. Let's look at gold. So gold is a very bullish asset. I was expecting this last week. Maybe we can go lower from this demand zone, but this is a confirmation I wanted. I didn't do it. It didn't break down this low, so therefore I didn't take this gold on Friday, and it actually went higher. But let's start again from this time from the daily time frame to look at gold. Gold trade. Gold has been trading within this range, so it's been very bullish from this side. And when we got here, we have been we've been ranging. So what can we expect? If you look at this, so yes, once we are done with somebody asking if I'm looking at crypto pairs. Yes, I said in the beginning we're looking at Euro USD, GBPUSD, gold. I'll look at two crypto pairs. Then I'll take your questions and look at any pair you want me to look at. Okay, maybe we'll do like 2 or 3 from the charts. Then we end today's class. So on the daily time frame, I'm looking at this demand zone for gold. You look at this demand zone, it is all been taken actually, because I'm looking at, okay, if we break out of this range, are we going to get back into them before moving out? But let me clear a lot of all this stuff here to make it so the chart looks cleaner. So on the daily time frame, we broke out of this range that we've been trading within since. And if you look, we have two demand zones below it. We have this zone because on the daily time frame, all these are efficient zone. They're all efficient zone. Okay. The demand zone and supply zone we have is this one here, this particular one here, which has actually been respected here. Okay, so I'm not really bothering myself with it, but I know if you go lower, we'll see another one. The next one, this is efficient. This is efficient. The next inefficiency I'm seeing is actually this particular one here. This one here. This is the inefficiency that broke this structure. So this becomes a break of structure. So this inefficiency here, this demand zone here broke this structure. So possible movement is that we trace into this zone and we go higher to take seek higher because it's a very bullish asset. So even if you're buying gold and keeping saving in gold, I think it's better than most assets because year in year it's generally bullish. Like broke new structure, we have a supply zone, we can go higher. But we can actually see more supply zones or demand zones rather when we go lower to a lower time frame. And that is where I like to refine from. So what can we see here? Let me take this out. This is the 4 hours on gold. The inefficiency we have is actually here. This is where we can refine to this one here. This is my 4 hour supply zone. You guys can see that this analysis are actually pretty simple. This is my 4 hour demand zone. Okay, this is the zone that led to this broker structure. We have a little price action here that is moving higher, but this is the zone I'm interested in. If I go lower, there are still other zones I can look at, like this one here and this one below here. But this is the one I am interested in, this particular one, because the whole of here are inefficient zone. If gold comes here and this point did not hold, if here did not hold and we break this point, then we're going to go lower and go lower to this point. But if here holds, we're going higher with gold. I might also be looking for a confirmation to take a gold trade from here. This confirmation. Confirmation, 624 hours. I was looking for confirmation on the much lower time frame. So 4 hours, I'm looking for confirmation in the 1 hour time frame. If it's 1 hour, I'm looking for confirmation on the 15 minutes time frame. 15 minutes, we're going down to 5 minutes. So this said, we're going to go lower to 1 hour and see what can we see with gold. Because I start looking for swing trades from the 1 hour. Okay. Okay, for me, on the 1 hour, nothing has actually changed. This is what I'm looking at. I don't know where it's going to get to, so I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to chase gold because it's exploring new highs. I believe it's trying to attack this high here. But before we can start looking for, say, a short position to go lower, we want to see change of character to the lower side. So on the 15 minutes time frame, I still have my sessions, but I don't really consider it when trading gold here. So I'm still looking at before I can decide to take a short position on gold. I still want structures properly broken. So we have this here. This is the last of this. So if I'm going to consider taking a short position on gold, possibly to this area, then I'm looking at this going this way, breaking this first. Then we can now go lower and target this point first, even before targeting this point. So these are my just short positions play. Then if we get here, I want to start looking for a long position using the confirmation entry I stated earlier. So this is the confirmation entry I want to look at. I want to see before deciding to take a gold trade. So this is it for me for gold. With that said, out of the way, let's look at Bitcoin. So the guy asking for Bitcoin, we are doing that right now. So what can we see with Bitcoin? I was expecting a confirmation entry here to go higher, but we didn't get a confirmation entry, and we didn't. There's no point trading it. This was an example of a confirmation, right, that we had here for Bitcoin. I'm going to explain it before we go lower. So we had a low, a high, and this is where we want to break. This particular low is where we want to break. Okay. I'm going to go to 15 minutes time frame again to look at it. So 15 minutes time frame. So we have this low. This is the low we want to break. So this is the point. This is a liquidity sweep here. This is the point we broke the low, but there was no demand zone here. We broke it again here, and we now have a supply zone rather here. So this is the point to take the Bitcoin trade from. And you can see if you took it and even target this particular low, it will have been a pretty good trade. And target this low, which is the next demand zone, it will have been a pretty good trade. Anyway, let's now look at Bitcoin for today, both day trade and swing trade. I'm going to clean out all this. We're going to start on the daily time frame. Daily time frame. Now, I have said that I am still bullish on Bitcoin unless this is the point I'll start being, unless we break here, unless we break this region, right? If you break this 74 mark, then we can start going much lower. We can start going lower to maybe attack this 50, 60 level again. Other than that, Bitcoin is bullish. The next point of reversal I'm looking at for Bitcoin is the zone. Is this zone? So this is the 100 K zone between 100, 103 to like 99. So this is the zone I'm looking at to see Bitcoin we trace down to, then we can now go higher to hit a new time, yeah, an all-time high. If we don't, if we break down through this zone, then the next zone to look at is the 85, is the 85K zone for Bitcoin. Okay, but this zone you see here looks really likely that Bitcoin gets to this particular zone. So on the shorts, on the short time frame or the low time frame, we can see Bitcoin being bearish. Okay, looking at the daily, we have a demand zone here. What I like to do is actually mark out other demand zone that we can, we can mark out the range where trade can actually occur. So higher, I'm looking at this as a top where we can trade this week. Okay, I'm also looking at this as the low, where we can trade up to this week. This one. Or even to this particular bottom here. Or even to the bottom. Let's leave it here. So, no, let me just move it there. So this is the region, um, the movement I'm expecting. I'm expecting Bitcoin to move within here this week. Okay. So what are the trades that can be taken? So here is where we start marking out demand zones, right? If you look at this, we had um, a high here, we now had a low, we have a high here, we now have a low, and this low broke structure down to the downside. So this gives me a breakout structure this way, which somewhat further confirms that, let me mark it out. So we have a break this way, and the break, you see, the break has entered an efficient zone. This low, this demand zone we have here has been taken out by this wick you see here. So we've entered somewhat of an efficient zone. The next inefficiency we have is this one, confirmed by this favor there, by this imbalance here. So how can we trade this down? For we to have a push down, we have to start marking the supply zone that orders can be taken from to push the price further down. One we can see here on the daily is this particular one, is one of them. Another one we can see here is this particular one here. Mind you, these are daily time frame, okay? Meaning that each candle represents what happened in one day. So 4 hours. 4 hours further tells us, okay, let's do some refining. Are we gonna take out some zones? Are we gonna leave some zones? Okay. So on the 4 hours, you can see that we have uh, this becomes pretty efficient on the 4 hours. So I'm not even gonna consider this one again. This is the one I will not consider, this particular one. We have an inefficiency here on the 4 hours. We have another one here. We have another tiny one here. If I'm to look at this, this is the one I will likely consider, because we almost have an equal high here that's going to be taken out. I'll likely consider this one than considering this one. And even there, we have a break of structure to the downside here. We have another break of structure here. Now, I would have loved to see a demand zone, a supply zone here, rather, to take this trade down from this zone, from this price action here. This is what I would have preferred to see a supply zone take it lower instead of from this point or this point, because this has actually formed a more like a small high that broke structure. But then again, we can see the markets just move all the way up to this point before going down further. I um I doubt that we can come up to here before going lower. But these are all cases of probability. This is the highest probability we're having. Now, 1 hour. So 1 hour is where we now start looking for the possibility of a swing trade. Okay. So on the 1 hour, I'm seeing a bunch of stocks here. Um, on the 1 hour, we can mark out some zones that we can trade from. One of them is this. We didn't see this on the 4 hours, but I've seen this on the 1 hour. This is a possible movement down. This is a possible area to take a movement down. And this zone hasn't broken structure, so we cannot consider this. This is another possible zone to take this down from. Yeah, very possible zone to take this down from. Okay, so but since for me to consider trades from here, I think what I would rather do is to look for confirmation, because we have like some possible zones to take trade from. This one, this one, this one, this one. So what are the reasons? How can we eliminate some of them? Like, what can we use to eliminate some of them to say, okay, this, because of this will not likely hold. This one is going to hold. Okay. Mind you, this is the target we have here. We are just looking for an entry to, take this trade from, to take, to go lower from. If you look at this here, this low led to this high. So this is also a breakout structure here. So this breakout structure was happened. We took trades from here. We took trade from practically, okay, we had another one here, right? Another breakout structure here. This is a tiny one. But this was not respected. And this came down from practically an inefficient zone, which tells me that this zone is likely calling for, is inviting price to come back to it, to take it. Just we'll have this one. Nice. Can see this one. We had this taking, and this is a zone left here calling for price. And this price finally came down to take this and will now push down. So this is a zone I'm likely looking to take my trade from. So on a swing trade perspective, to go short, I'm looking for a positions from here for Bitcoin and targeting this low again, giving me an almost 7 hour movement. But can this happen from now to maybe Wednesday or Tuesday? Possibly, but this is what I'll be looking at. And I think what I would do is to place, because I won't place a limit order this way. I think I'll place I'll draw this line, right? And I'll possibly place an alert on this line to alert me when price reaches this point, so that if I need to reanalyze or change based on the price action I see here, I'm going to do that. Now, for day trades, I don't like drawing my for crypto particularly. I don't like to draw my demand and supply zone on the 15 minutes time frame, because most times I see them not respected, not taken rather. Price don't get there to be taken for it to happen. So I rather like to look for supply and demand zone for day trade for crypto on the 30 minutes time frame. This is from experience practically. So what can we trade for day trade? So here we have a range. Um, Now, I said here, I'm not expecting here, this zone here, or this zone to be respected, but you never can tell. We might come here and have more like a confirmation entry and still go lower. If I'm to take a trade from here, I definitely want to see a confirmation entry. If I don't see it, I'm not taking it. The same thing with this particular point. I definitely want to see a confirmation entry before considering it. Ultimately, this is a zone I'll do a risk entry from for a swing trade. But of course, if you're waiting to take this trade today, it's not going to happen today. I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow. It might happen tomorrow, but definitely I don't see the market pumping up to this point. It might be a gradual movement. So therefore, what can we trade today? So for today, we can be looking to take like a long positions, long position. If you are taking long position, you want to see breaks to the upside, breaks to the upside, and look for demand in the downside. So let's look at this. This is a range. If you look at this range, this has been a range. Market has been ranging from this point. This is a high and low of these ranging markets. This is on Friday all through Sunday up to this point. So market is usually dull over the weekend, especially on Saturdays. For crypto, market is usually dull. It's on Sundays you actually see some price actions. So this has been the range. So and this is a sweep. So what I want to see is market to start internally. What can we see internally? Let's look at market structure even from here. So I have a low, break of structure, a high. These are the proper, okay. We have this, a high, and we started breaking it down from here. We had a break of structure from this way. We broke this structure here. And market even still respected this internal structure. So this is a supply zone from here internally. So if you are taking, even if you are taking trades in this time, so this is actually 7:30 Nigerian time on Sunday, because we've seen a break of structure to this downside here, and this is the supply zone we're looking at to take this straight down. So actually here we have broken these structures here. We have not broken this one. So I would have been more confident to say, okay, it's like we're going to go lower if we broke this one. Again, know the difference between break of structure and liquidity sweep. So this down here is actually a sweep of liquidity and not a break of structure. But, but then again, if I'm to trade this within this, okay, because yes, I said I'm looking forward to this coming up all this way. This is still that we can trade up to in the short term and wait for it to be broken before we can go higher. So what do I mean? What I mean is that if you continue our market structure, we had a break, a down, a low, a high, a low. So we're not having another. So we can do this and keep on going lower. Okay, this is a risk that can be taken. But the reason I don't want to take this risk to go down, maybe taking a short position from here, because this is actually a possibility. Let me show you what I mean. We have a supply zone here, a supply zone here. Okay, we have a break of structure here, internal break of structure at this point, clearly placed. So this is a possible short position trade from this point where we are at this time, and we can now go lower. I don't know, I have to look left to know where to place your trade to go lower. But I wouldn't want to take this trade. Why? Because when we have a liquidity sweep, we usually go higher. Okay, so therefore, but I will not also want to take a long position from here. So what I would rather consider is to consider this particular point here. So I have this point here, this top here. I will place an alert there because I want to see a break of it. So if I see a break this way to this high, but not to this other block, right? I may want to take this trade higher to this point from this particular 30 minutes order block we are seeing here. Unless during the course of the movement, I get new information about this trade. Ultimately, if we then see a break of this entire structure we have here, if we see a break, this is another zone I'm targeting. If we see a break of this particular one, eventually, like we see whatever is coming from, we see a break of this, then I want to look for an entry to take it higher. I hope this makes sense. So let us, at that point, I can actually go down to 15 minutes time frame to look at all that stuff. But let's do a quick recap of a Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, I'm looking at, from what we analyzed, I'm looking at the market going lower to this region. Okay. Which means that even this my trade that is a 7.8 risk reward, I could take another trade, or maybe in this particular trade, take partials, because ultimately I'm looking to target this particular region. So this will even be a 12-hour risk reward ratio. But in the short time frame, day trade, I'm looking to see how we can go higher, how I can take long position to get to this particular point. One of them, one is the careful analysis of this particular region. So we have a range where the market has been ranging from Friday up to this particular morning. And this would have been a very good trade if you trade during the weekend. I don't trade during the weekend. Okay. Now, for today's trade, I want to see a shift to the upside before I can consider taking long positions. But if I don't see a shift to the upside, and I keep seeing breaks. So for example, see what I mean. So for example, if we see a breakdown this way now with a proper break of structure, I want to keep trading lower, right? I want to keep trading lower. But if we see a break of this one now here, then my orientation is going to change to keep on trading higher to possibly hit this particular point till we go down. This is crypto. Again, I'll be dropping all these things on Discord. Today, I'll see how I can drop all of them on Discord once I start seeing them playing out. Of course, I still do miss some trades. If maybe I'm not looking at it. I still miss some of it. So, but this is what I'm practically looking at. I think I might have to. You guys just give me like. Let me take I'm gonna take a quick break. So give me um like 15 minutes, and I'll be back. All right, so I'm back. If you can hear me, just type in the comment section. You can hear me. Now, I was going through, and some person says my screen is not clear. So if my screen is clear, just let me know in the comment section. Is my screen clear? If it's clear, just type 1. If my screen is clear, type 1 in the comment section. Good. If you can hear me, if my screen is clear, type 1 in the comment section. If it's not clear, type 2 in the comment section. I'm just waiting for the comments to come in. It seems I can't be heard because I'm not seeing any comment coming. Okay, 1, I can see that now. Okay, so my screen is clear. Just one person saying it's clear. Okay, so what you can do, thanks Aloysius for saying that. So what you can do to have a clearer, to see it clearer from your own end is just go to the settings, change the quality of what is coming to you. You can change it to 720. Yes, 480 is fine, but 720 gives you a better quality. The only thing is that maybe it may lag a little because you want your internet needs to process it to be much clearer. So 720, 480, test that to see the one that is clearer for you. All right. So that said, let us go back to the trade. So I've done Forex, gold. Now we're in crypto. We're doing Bitcoin. I want to edit this stream by latest 8:20. So I'm going to stop all the analysis I'm doing within the next 5 minutes, and I'll take from you what you want me to analyze. So this is Bitcoin. I've analyzed it. The next one we're looking at right now is I want to look at is BNB. I've been trading BNB for a while now. I trade Ethereum and BNB. I look at both of them actually. So maybe we should do Ethereum first. Okay, let's do Ethereum first. Because after Bitcoin it's usually Ethereum, right? Um so let me give you an example of what a confirmation entry is. Okay, so you guys know what a confirmation entry is. So if you look at this analysis, I didn't actually take this trade because this happened over the weekend and I don't trade on the weekend. So if you look at this trade, this is an example of what I call a confirmation entry. So you see that price came down into this region, came up, came down, came up, right, and came down to move higher. But I wouldn't have also taken this trade because here price did not come down to this zone. So I will have also missed this trade, okay? Even though it gives some sort of a confirmation entry. All right, it didn't come down to this particular zone, but it might do that on, say, other asset. Let's look at BNB, where price didn't also do that on BNB. So sometimes you don't get your entry even with the confirmation entry. Your price will ultimately move the way you want it to move. So I'm gonna remove this now and remove this because these have all been taken. Remove this. It's a very good trade. And remove this. And we're going to start again from the daily time frame to move down to Ethereum. I'm going to quite rush this because I believe you guys are understanding the gist. So if you look at Ethereum, it looks pretty bullish from where we are. Ethereum is usually bullish after Bitcoin is bullish. Okay, so if you look at Ethereum, it's pretty demand zone. Okay, and if you look above, we are having a supply zone here. So I'm happy. I'll be very happy that this week I trade between here and here. Okay, just between trading from here to here is actually pretty good. From here to here, from this demand zone to this supply zone. And we saw more like these two candles you see here, these two one. What's happening to my chart? Let me refresh on what's up. So this two candle we see here is actually some sort of indecision, right? This one is a wick up. This one is a wick down. So this formed more like a doji together. But it's actually coming from this demand zone. So I'm still bullish on this particular on this. So I'm still bullish that this is going to go up. But where is it going to go from? For that, we go down to the 4 hours and start looking for a trade. So on the 4 hours, what is our confirmation? We've pretty gotten our confirmation here. So we have a movement down, up. You can see up here, down, another upward movement, and we came down here and we're moving higher. So even on the 4 hours, okay, I want to remove this. Even on the 4 hours, Ethereum is at a zone we can trade from. Okay, it has broken structure this way. It's on this zone we can trade from. And where our target is this zone here. Is this zone here. Okay. 1 hour time frame. Can we refine this further? Can we refine this further? So here, I would say 1 hour. On the 1 hour, let me take this out so we'll have some clarity. Okay. I'm going to mark out the demand zones we have. One is this one demand zone. Okay, that is lower here on the 1 hour. Then, what other demand zone do we have? Um, this is where we have this break of structure here to the upper side. Okay, now we are in this zone. We might likely go up from here. Do another step down here and go down here and go up here. Possibly because of this liquidity we have here. No, I won't consider this liquid. Now, what I can look forward to in this region, since we are having some, another extra zone here that we can take off from. What I can look forward in this region for is, can we see a confirmation in the very low time frame? So if I go to the 15 minutes now, even though I like to look for my entries here in the 5 minutes, here in the 30 minutes rather. But let's go to 15 minutes. Okay, let's go to 30 minutes rather. So this is zone. I want to remove this. Let's see, what do we have? Push upward is that from this zone. We didn't have a break here. We had a break here. Zone that restructure. Okay, I think there's a possibility that this comes down to this zone. So this is the zone I've been watching for. And let's go to the 15 minutes and see. Okay, what can we see on 15 minutes for this? Um, for this 5 minutes. Okay, now based on this, I think because of the we have a lot of rejection here, showing that this is zone that is being rejected from. But we have a demand zone over here, showing that the market can come here and go higher. I'll be happy to take a limit order here to go higher. But from here, we can actually go higher. Therefore, what we can do is to place some kind of a range to consider this range here, this range, and this range here. Okay, and look forward to if we see a break out of this range, then I'll be happy to now see I'm going higher from here. Hope that makes sense. If we see a break out of this range, so I'll be happy to set an alert within this parallel two. If we see a break out of this range, I'm happy to go higher. If we see a breakdown from this particular range, then we're entering an efficient zone. Therefore, this will be the zone I'll be looking for to take another trade from. Well, come on, network. I like to consider entries on the 30 minutes, right? So what I will also want to see here is a confirmation. So this is what I mean. If we're coming lower to this point, say we'll go lower to this point, right? Before I can go higher, I also want to see a confirmation this way to take it higher. So this will be the possible trade I will take on Ethereum. This particular point is where I will consider to take a trade from, as well as if we do this first, is where I will take a trade from. But that said, I will just be waiting here to see what happens here before I start taking that trade. So this is Ethereum. I would like to analyze BNB, but I think what I would do now is just to go to the comments and analyze just two assets. So the first two assets in the comment is what I'm going to analyze. So just go to the comment and type there if you want me to, even if it's crypto, forex, or whichever one, just tell me two pairs you want me to analyze. Just then I'll look at it quickly before we end this live. I just have like 7 minutes, 8 minutes left, 7 minutes left. WLFI. Which one is that? I don't even know what that is. USDJPY. So I don't even know the pair that is W. Let me look for it. W. Oh, WLFI. This is World Liberty Financials. So, damn. So the thing is, for crypto, I like to do some fundamentals. All right, all right. But for this type of coins that are just like pretty brand new, this is really really new. this like a coin that was created last month, right? So you have to look at some fundamental, looking at, okay, what can we have? I mean, so I want to see WLFI, World Liberty Financials. So I'm looking forward to seeing, this is not a start supply 1 billion. Okay, everything is being supplied, right? Okay, so there's no bunch, there's no, but you might want to go to, might want to get a contract address and look further. Say you want to look at that screener, because it doesn't have a lot of history, right? For you to say I'm doing technical analysis on this, because coins like this, you might be seeing some wallet holding a large portion of the coin, and because that is done, you might see people dumping that coin, and it might be because of the large holding I'll be having. So these are coins I like to do fundamental analysis on before ever trying to trade them. Am I sure this is the coin? This can be it. This can be it. So before I go ahead and do this one, I have to do some quite of fundamental analysis on it first. Now, there's no time for that, so I can't go into it now. But based on what I'm seeing in the chat here, let's just go and do that. So daily time frame, we're seeing this. Um, Again, the reason why I'm skeptical about this is this. A wallet can be holding a large amount of this coin. So whatever the analysis you do, the person can just dump it and everything is done, is gone, right? So it is not the same thing with Bitcoin, and it's not the same thing with other coins. It's hard for this thing to happen. Individuals holding a large portion of this coin can just dump it and it's gone. And it doesn't have much history as this. But on a face value of this, what can we see? We can see from the 4 hours, there's really not much price action to be based off of here. So we're having more like higher highs and higher lows. You can see it here, higher highs and higher lows, right? And we saw this break structure into this demand zone, and we are having another zone here from this coin at this point. So possible movement is this. Now we're coming from a supply zone here because of the because of the fair value gap we have here. Here, and we're coming from a supply zone here. Okay, come from a supply zone here, and we have gone down. Now we can take from here, we can look for confirmation to possibly go higher. All right. Or this might just be a demand, a supply zone here might just be here to actually take this lower. And for us to see that, we then have to go lower to the 1 hour time frame and possibly even go more lower. So yeah, just like I suspected. So here we have a supply zone above here. So first, on the higher time frame, we've taken this supply here. You can see the supply here seems to come from this demand zone here, which pulls into the supply zone and we're going lower again. Now, looking at this, these are all efficient price actions. So here is all efficient. You know how to take this in lower on this time frame. I'm not seeing a place to take a trade from for this particular coin. Then here, this is the last demand zone I'm seeing. This particular one is the last demand zone I'm seeing. Okay, so we might see which means that we might see this respected. We might see price action come into this zone, then we go higher, which I clearly, like, really doubt is going to happen. Okay, but this is from what I'm saying. We might see this happen, but ultimately, I think, okay. So if I'm to take trade from here on the very lower time frame, this is what I would want. I want to see price come here, and I want to see confirmation entry in the lower time frame. Okay, lower time frame. I'm not even talking about 15 minutes. I'm talking about like very lower time frame, or like the, now if I hold on, if I go to the 30 minutes, there's really no efficient. There's really from here, from this particular point, I'm really not seeing an any inefficiency. So I'm going to negate this and just look at this coin as being bearish. Just forget about this one. These are the points I'll be looking at from here. We've had this break here. So I want another, if we see another break down this way with a candle body closure, now be considering to take a short position from here, or to take a short position from this particular point. I see this being broken actually. I don't see it holding. So that is that for the WFI. Now, for the guy that demanded for what they call it, for, I'm actually at time now, but for this USDJPY. So you know what? My time is done because I have a meeting in the next 10 minutes. I have to attend to and prepare for that meeting. So we're gonna close this session for today. We hold this every Monday, so make sure you attend on Monday. Probably start earlier, and or probably, so what is every Monday? We'll see if I can still bring it. If we can bring it within the week. But on Discord, we hold it like every day on Discord, like almost every day. So if you are new, you want to get into Discord, what you can do is I just follow the form in the description. We'll be taking, this is September, so we're taking a new set of students this September. We're taking a new set of another new set maybe in October, and after that, it will be we can find a way. We're just trying to control the number of students we have now, but we're taking new set of students in September. So if you are in the email list, just expect an email. Expect an email that will give you an instruction to join us there. So have a very lovely trading week. I'll see you guys next week. And again, um, I want to do something today where I'll post my setup across all my social media, YouTube community section, Twitter and LinkedIn, everywhere. But the thing is that because of the what we're having today, we're having holiday, bank holiday for in US and Canada. I don't know how the markets will actually behave because of this. So based on that, I'm not drop anything. But you can see that here we're having what we stated earlier is beginning to play out. If I have a break like this and I'm going short, but then again, I'm just saying that I don't know how the liquidity that will be in the market because of the bank holiday, there won't be really much volume coming from the US. See you guys next week. Bye, everyone.